Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the first video in a series that I am currently calling DIY Optimism. My name's Edmund from Melbourne, Australia, and yeah, I've got a lot of explaining to do, but I'm gonna try and run through that quickly so that we can get to the action later on. Yeah, in short, I just moved to the US about 6 months ago, where I finished school after 20 long years of consecutive study. So now, as of December, I've decided to take to the road to explore a foreign land and figure some shit out. And I'm going against all of my better judgment and starting a video blog. For reasons I will soon explain. And yeah, just in this first video, I wanted to let you know what the hell I'm doing.
Not as exciting as I hoped.
Now, in the past few years, I've been lucky enough to do a lot of traveling, and the more I see and learn about the world, I'm convinced of two simple facts. The first is that the world is an infinitely beautiful place. From its mountains, to its rivers, to its rolling plains, to its rainforests, to its beaches, to its deserts, to its cities, to its plants, animals, and people. It's beautiful. I could go on forever, but all of that kind of goes without saying. But the second fact that most people don't seem to realize is that without significant global action, it's fucked, basically. We're now damaging the planet at an unprecedented rate, and the planet is losing its capacity to cope with the destruction that we are wreaking. And we're currently so distracted. We're all kind of caught up in the news cycle, which admittedly is also fucked. And yeah, I'm definitely very terrified by the social climate at the moment. But I'm not going to go into too much detail there, basically out of fear of deportation. But I will say this: one of the most damaging things Orange Twitler, our Nacho Cheeto overlord, has done since he started running for president is to distract us from all of the problems that currently face the world. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to talk about that dickhead too much, especially because a lot of people already are. And I'm instead gonna focus on climate change, amongst many other things.
Climate change is a Chinese conspiracy. You one of them Chinese communists?
No, sir, I'm from Australia. I just have a weird accent.
Yeah, it's what they all say. All the Chinese communists coming in here and fucking talking about changing the planet.
Now, when you're dealing with climate change, there are two ways you can go about it. There's mitigation and then there's adaptation. So mitigation is where you reduce or mitigate the amount that we pollute to try and reduce the effects of climate change. And that's one area that I'm going to try and return to in the second phase of this channel. But right here in phase 1, I'm going to focus on adaptation, the second way you can address climate change, which is where you adapt to a changing environment. And it's also one area where we haven't really given a great deal of thought, mostly because the fossil fuel industry is still trying to convince everyone that climate change isn't actually happening. Now, this whole bloody video blog, and the reason why I'm out here in the middle of fucking nowhere, is based on a theory of mine, which I will now explain. So, it's based on 3 global factors that are occurring at the moment. And the first is that we are at the beginning of a revolution in the way that we get around. And that's a result of the fact that we have 3 emerging technologies colliding at the moment.
So those three are driverless technology, vehicle networking, and the fact that we've now developed some killer electric vehicles. So this century, most of the vehicles we produce will be driverless, electric, and connected to each other in a way that we haven't seen before. And that's going to unlock a lot of capability in what you can do with a vehicle. And beyond that, infrastructure is going to adapt to meet these changes. And all that is going to require a shitload of resources. So that's the first factor. Now, if you also take it as true, as you bloody well should, that climate change is going to increase the frequency and the magnitude of extreme weather events like hurricanes and bushfires and floods and droughts, etc. In addition to sea level rise and the decline in the availability of food and drinking water, then that's going to produce a growing number of climate refugees. We're already beginning to see millions of people on the move.
You just look at Europe. It took one wave of climate refugees to put an enormous amount of stress on the European Union and a lot of real bastards into power. So what do we do when we have these crises occurring more frequently and simultaneously? Okay, so the third factor is that climate change is going to fuck with the habitability of this planet. And that fucking is only going to get worse. So what I'm trying to say is that some places are going to become more capable of supporting life, while many other places are going to become much harder to live in. So if you take those three factors, the revolution that's coming and the way we get around, the glowing number of climate refugees that we're going to see, and the fact that the habitability of the world is changing, then what I'm trying to say is,
it's important, is that a proportion of the new transport systems we're developing should be equipped to provide at least temporary housing for those that need it. That way it serves an additional purpose outside of simply getting us around. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, so basically, instead of sitting at home, stroking my small beard, thinking about this theory, I've decided to go out and test it, and see what living on the road actually involves. So, a little over 2 months ago, just after Christmas, I bought a van. It's a beautiful 1994 Chevy G20 sports van, and I moved into it in the middle of fucking winter. And yeah, so it's my intention to study what helps or hinders life in a vehicle, how can they be made safer, what basic comforts are required, how can they better interact with each other, how does the law interact with a nomad, all kinds of questions really. So, over the next few videos, I'm going to attempt to build a motorhome with you guys and show you how I do it. So that's phase 1. Adaptation. 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 Also, I should make it very, very clear at this point that I have next to no idea about video blogging, mechanics, or the wilderness. But I figure if I'm gonna go to all of this trouble to learn how to do this shit, I may as well share it with the internet. Stupid hair! Fuck! Alright, I'm popping a squat. And yeah, so as far as the adventure's been going so far, I'd say it's been pretty good. I've been through, I've driven about 3,000 miles. Started in Chicago, went through Missouri, down into Arkansas, spent a while in Texas, Had a lot of fun there. And then came up through New Mexico and then into Colorado. And that's where I'm hanging out now. In all that time, I've met a ton of beautiful, inspiring, fascinating, and fucking crazy individuals. Slept next to 2 lakes, 1 scenic railway, way too many Walmarts. Climbed 4 mountains, had 9 people and 1 dog stay in the van. Been to 2 clubs, 1 warehouse party, and about 20 bars. Yeah, and in all that time, I've only had 2 run-ins with the popo, and 1 passive-aggressive post-it note stuck to my house. How dare they? Yeah, the battery on my van dies just about every second day, but I've got this nifty little device called a battery buddy that keeps it running. It's good. I'll explain that in the next video, but when we meet the Meridor. So yeah, I'm currently camped in the mountains just west of Denver, and where I've been stuck at level 1, which I will explain in the next video. But that's probably enough for 1. So if you made it this far, nice. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you lovely folks in the future. Peace. I forgot the rest of the script.
I'm sitting on a rock, and I don't know what to talk about. How about we just call it a day? We got a bit of material.
Hi, Mom! La 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 la! Hello! Climate change is happening! Yeah, I know you get it.